Evening. Welcome to Lolita's Corner. We are so glad that you are joining us. Hop on, give us some love. Let us know that you are here. We are excited that you are joining us tonight. I am excited about the topic. I'm excited about
Come
my
on.
guest on tonight. Listen, keep up with Dr. Cleveland. You can always find me on my website at crumenterprises.com. If you do not have my new book, listen. It is a hot resource guide for every business owner, entrepreneur, blogger, coach, whatever you need to systemize your business to get what you need. Listen, get the Global Plug book. You definitely need it. I highly recommend it. If you are in the Chicago area, I am doing a Grant Basics 101 class for nonprofits. Listen, if you're a new nonprofit, and I mean new, or aspiring, it's 1, 2, or 3 years for you. You've not obtained any grants. You really don't know how to search grants and things of that nature. Listen, come join me on May 22nd. I'm going to give a powerful grant workshop. You get me live in living color. It is not virtual. We have to be in person for these things. So invest in your nonprofit. I'll come back and mention that later on in the show. But we are going to go ahead and get started on this evening because I am excited. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but credit is a topic that people do not like to talk about. Oh my goodness, all the way down to my credit score is not good. I don't know how to get credit. I don't know what to do with credit. I messed up. I filed bankruptcy. I got all those credit cards in college. Listen to me. If you are a college student and you are leaving this year for college, do not sign up for any of the credit cards that they give you on campus without talking to your parents, because that is one of the number one reasons that most college students come out of college in debt, not just student loans, but actual credit cards. They want to give you a Discover and a Visa. Please answer me this. How can you pay it back as a college student when mom and dad is sending you money for groceries monthly? Do not do it. Do not get it. I'm telling you, here under the sound of my voice, don't do it. So listen, I have the awesome Armonte Akers with me
Come on.
tonight.
Come on. Come on.
Good
Come on.
evening. I am so glad you're with me tonight. How are you?
I'm well. I'm lovely. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling even greater because people are about to get some really good knowledge that they need, that everyday knowledge about credit. Listen, what's up with credit? We're not teaching our kids credit. When is a good time to talk about credit before we in bankruptcy, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
When would you recommend the best time to discuss credit
So you
with
want to
kids?
discuss credit in high school. That's the best time, and it's important for high school students to learn about financial literacy, and that's where the school system has really failed overall. I think it's one state so far. I was doing some research in New Jersey. They have it where it's mandatory for when kids graduate that they have to have take a financial literacy course. I just think that's so important. We need to really implement that in all schools. And so that's something that I want to work on as well, to start going to schools and really teaching financial literacy courses. But it's a good tip is for parents to put their kids as an authorized user on their credit cards while the kid is in high school. And so you don't have to give them a card. They don't have to have access to the additional card, but just putting them on their account really help boost their credit score. So by the time they get out of high school, they could start off with a 750 to an 800 credit score and have some established credit, because that's one of the biggest things a lot of clients ask me was, how do I build credit? And it starts with you can either become an authorized user on someone's account, and you don't want to just become an authorized user on anyone's account. You want to become an
Right.
authorized user on somebody's account that got some good credit, that pays their bills on time, because of course you becoming an authorized user, you're liable for whatever is on that card. So if you have a person that's not paying their bills on time and that has a payment history that's over 30%, the usage that's over 30% is going to negatively affect you. So that's one key way. And then secure credit cards. That's something I know you mentioned before, that even a high school student, Once they turn 18, they can start that up on them on but themselves. They can get their hard on money, take it to the bank, and just tell them, hey, I got $500. That's the typical. That's the average. I want to put this to start a credit card, and that'll be a way to build credit.
That's good. And I think it's needed. I think that it is such a disadvantage that through the years, parents weren't discussing the money, right? They don't teach you that these are the bills that we pay every month. We don't sit down with our kids to say, you may not tell them how much money you make, but you may tell them these are the bills we pay: rent, light, gas, water, grocery, your shoes, your eyeglasses, so that they can really understand that whole budgeting and money and how it actually works. Listen, I tell people that credit is like your driver's license. What is credit? I think some people don't even really realize what credit is.
Absolutely. So credit, we're gonna keep it real simple. It's trustworthiness. It's the three-digit number. It represents your ability to pay creditors back. Right. It's a contract agreement, so to speak. So they're saying, hey, based on the amount of credit that you have, this three-digit number that you have, is your likeliness to pay this bill back. And so in many cases, you even have companies out here that really prey on poor people, and people that's not educated, that has bad credit. They'll still approve them, but it's going to be at these tremendously ridiculous high interest rates that they're paying back. So it pays to be an educated consumer. And that's pretty much all it is. I mean, credit is you being able to pay your bills on time.
You said something very valuable. You said an educated consumer. That
Absolutely.
means it requires you to make an appointment with Mr. Akers to really understand your credit and where you are. And no matter where you are, low credit, medium credit, even high credit, there's some things you need to know. Education is so key, and financial education is just essential to even structure and make it. And like you say, that number lets you know what you're paying and what you're not. Why is credit so important? When I think about everything with credit, sometimes we don't realize it, but why is credit so important?
Absolutely. Credit is so important because um, it's like our financial report card. It shows that your ability to pay people on time. So example, like, a lot of the baby boomers, that generation, and I bring this up for a reason. They wasn't really educated and taught about credit. It was, pay cash for everything, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Cash is king, but I tell clients that credit is power, and the reason that is because you can only do so much with cash. When it's time to buy a vehicle, and you don't have the cash to finance it, you're gonna need credit. When it's time to purchase a house and you don't have the money, you're gonna need credit. So it's important to learn how to leverage credit. You don't have to go into a bunch of debt, but it's important to learn how to leverage credit. And you leverage credit by, obtaining credit cards and then making sure you're making the payments on them. Making sure you're making the monthly payments and paying in advance. So, not leaving a large balance on them. So you don't have to pay interest.
That's good. That's good. You said something really good, that your credit is your financial report card.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, it is your financial report card. That is powerful, because when you think about a report card, you think about col you think about school, when we used to get A's and B's for math and science. So now your credit is rated as top credit, low credit, medium credit. Wow, that's powerful. That's something that you have to think about. How are you building your credit report card? And that report card, I'm sure, is relating to how you pay your bills, what type of credit cards you're actually obtaining. Because I'm told that the type of credit card you get is important too.
Absolutely. We could talk about that. So now we're going to kind of really talk about, for someone that's trying to really understand credit and just the basis of it. So for one, we'll kind of just go from the beginning. Your credit score, it ranges from a 300 being just extremely poor to an 850. That's the highest score that you can get. And the score that you want to pull from is a lot of consumers, 90% of consumers look at your FICO score. Your FICO score is a lot of different models that come with that. The latest model is the FICO 10 score. The FICO 10 score really focuses on your payment history, and then your debt to income ratio. So with a lot of, when you go to dealerships, when you look at your mortgage lender, those are the main things that they're focused on. Obviously, there are a lot of other things to focus on, but those are the main two. And so your credit score is broke down. It's 35% is payment history. So that's the majority of what makes up a credit score, is just paying your bills on time. And I tell clients, even if you can't pay your bills on time, right, because life happens, you're going to go through, like life altering situations, maybe a divorce or you lose your job, whatever the case is, and that limits your ability to pay on time. When you have lenders and things of this nature and they calling you like, hey, when you going to make your payment, do not ignore those people. Make sure you set up a payment plan. Like that's the responsible thing to do, because they can work with you. So if you don't have it, just tell them, hey, I'm in a hardship right now, and just see, okay, if I have a loan out, can we re-age the loan? To re-age the loan means to put the money that you owe on the back end of the loan and then just extend the loan. So that way it doesn't hit your credit, that'll keep it from going into collections. So that's a little tip that you can do. The next step of credit is 15% is the length of credit, right? How long have you had a credit open? How long has your credit been established? 30%, that's the one I missed. I didn't put them in no particular order, but 30% is the outstanding debts that you have. I just mentioned that earlier, with the amount of debt that you have. So for example, um, if you have a credit card that's $1,000, right, you want to make sure you keep that under 30%. So having, which is $300. So having $500 on that, that's too much. That means you have 50% of your usage, and that's going to negatively affect your credit. So there's nothing wrong with credit. A lot of people, it's a lot of myths out there that having credit cards is bad. Just being educated on how to use them. You want to leverage and use other people's money. That's smart, but you have to know how to do it, right? You don't always have to use your money, but you need to know how to leverage it. So, you just continue to build your credit up, and then you can just keep it under 30%. And then 10% is the revolving credit. So that's the different types, like you said. Revolving credit would be credit cards, and then installment loans is like a car payment or a mortgage loan, like you have a car on there. And then 10% to round it up, would make up the full credit score, is new credit. You're applying for new credit. And so you kind of want to, you don't want to apply for too much new credit. You just want to kind of apply for really, you want to have like 2 inquiries per year per credit bureau is good. So you want to keep it under 7 for the most part of things that you're applying for per year. Because when lenders look at, let's say, for example, you got 20 inquiries on your report, that's the issue, because it's saying that you're relying on credit way too much. And we need to know that you can pay us back. So in most cases, depending on where your credit score is, you'll get denied.
That's good. Now that's some knowledge right there. Because those percentages, I didn't even know. You had me over here taking notes. I'm like, what he say? 30, 10%, right? And
Yeah.
that's good, because a lot of times people are not aware of how to break their credit down to that particular level. What are some everyday tips that we could use as it relates to our credit?
I'm glad you asked that. And so I think it's a lot of tips out here, and I'm real passionate about this, y'all. I love this topic, this subject, because I wasn't really educated on it as growing up. So I'm like, I need to learn more about this. But I would say this is one of the biggest things, especially for people, for the youth and those that's in the X generation, the Z generation.
Right. New kids going to college, like I said.
Absolutely. And this is for another. So when you get promotional mail, like it's advertisements in the mail, even online, and it says that you're pre-approved, this does not mean that you in particular are pre-approved. So what they do is, what a lot of companies do is they do just mass emails this, and it's from, they get databases from, so it's just all in that area. Let's say in a particular zip code, it may, these people may have a 700 credit score. So they're sending out, all these promotionals to everyone in that area. Again, that does not mean that you in particular got approved for, a $25,000 credit card. That just means people in that area have. Now, you could have gotten approved, but again, you want to be an educated consumer. And that's how a lot of the times that's just marketing. You want to make sure, okay, hey, again, what are the prerequisites for this particular credit card or for this loan?
Right.
Ask them again. Don't just apply for it, because if you get denied, that's going to negatively affect your credit. So I think that's one of the big things, because people get caught up with that often. You would be surprised how many people, oh, man, I got this credit card, they said I've been pre-approved, let me apply. Or if you're looking for a car, all of a sudden you put it up on Facebook. Now all of a sudden you're getting, all these promotions from car dealerships. Oh, come in here, you got pre-approved for a $35,000 car. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean that you got pre-approved. It's just in that area, that's from the database the information they got. That's they saying that the standard credit score was 700 and the area was pre-approved, but that don't necessarily mean you got pre-approved. So still be educated on that. Don't just be applying for everything because you got it in the mail. That don't mean you got approved. I think I would say that's one of the biggest things. Of course, there's so many other things. And another simple thing would just be, it's as simple as this, is just paying your bills on time. I mean, it's not overly complicated, like just trying to make sure
Right.
you're paying your bills on time and not applying for too much credit. Because anytime you over your head, things are going to begin to just crumble. And so that's what me and my team do a good job at, is educating people. I'm not just going to fix your credit. I'm going to educate you. And we have tools and resources to educate you about credit, so you'll understand moving forward, and you won't be in a position of needing your credit restored 6 months from now, because you'll be an educated consumer.
That's good. So you, since you mentioned your team, let's talk about it. You
Absolutely.
said that you educate. Tell us what you're up to, how the people can get in contact with you, what some things you can help them with. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what me and my team simply do, we tell you the law. So you have the right to dispute. It's due to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You have the right to dispute any erroneous, obsolete item on your credit report. So anything falls in there. It could be a bankruptcy, a tax lien, a judgment. You have the right to dispute it. That's your legal right. Now, what we come in at is, we know exactly how to maneuver through that. Anybody can do it, but if you don't really know what you're doing, it can just make
Right.
the process a whole lot longer, and you can pay a whole lot more money. So what we do, we offer credit restoration. That's our bread and butter service. But we also offer, we have credit attorneys in the case that you've experienced identity theft, or if it's debt harassment. If people are calling you, creditors are calling you before 8 o'clock and after 9 o'clock, and leaving more than one voicemail a day, that would be considered harassment. So they're real
Mhm.
good with that. And identity theft. Identity theft, this is key, because since we went through this COVID and this pandemic, it's a lot of scammers, firecrackers. Identity theft is at an all-time high. So it's important to just know, different things you can do. So we work a lot, real heavy with those clients. We also offer savings tool. If you're trying to save to purchase a home or a car, whatever the case is, we kind of help you stay on track and stay disciplined to save. We have budgeting tools out as well. A debt payoff system. Let's say if you're trying to, you can plug in your interest rate, and the amount of debt that you owe, and we'll put you on a fast track game plan to pay it off early. So those are a few of the services. There's others included, but those are a few of the services. You all can, just reach out to me. Uh, Go to my website at www.creditforpower, the number 4power.com, and we can talk a little bit more about it. I'm also on Instagram, at 25 acres, AKERS, and or you can even call me. I'm always taking calls. you have access to a free consultation. Just don't call me past 9 o'clock, but my phone is always open. And you can call me at 773-313-7390. Again, that's 773-313-7390. So that's a little bit about what we do. Um,
That's good. That's good. So listen, now I have to ask you this, and I always, when I give me a credit guru, I always have to bring this up. And I
Absolutely.
think I bring it up because I never knew it. But once I know something, anybody know it. Once I know, right?
Hmm.
What is this that you shouldn't dispute something online?
Oh, come on, come on. Let's talk about
Let's
that.
talk about it
Let's talk.
because
Let's
Let's
talk.
talk about it because when I learned that, I was messed up. I'm like, what? Because that's easy. People are gonna think, okay, that's easy. That's that. Let me do this, but it messes up something with your rights. Let's
Yeah.
just touch on it a minute for me. Touch
A-
on it a
a-
minute.
Absolutely. So I will say this, right? Because it's been cases, and I'm gonna play both sides. It's been cases where, like, for example, people would say, "Oh man, I disputed one item on Credit Karma, um, and it went through. They removed it." But then I know some clients where 3 months later it got put back on there. And so the issue with disputing online is because it's a system that the credit bureaus have. Is called e-Oscar. And so anytime that you're disputing online, it'll automatically go through that system. And so something that simple, it'll automatically deny it because it's not authentic. It's just anybody can go online and say that, I disputed your credit. And so a lot of that is for protection purposes, because with that, if you're doing it online, there's no verification typically with that. It's not no major verification. Anybody can go in there and dispute it. And so they'll deny it. Um, and they automatically detect that. So if you are going to dispute, if you're going to do it yourself, again, you have that legal right to do it yourself. You want it to make it as authentic as possible. So it can either be a handwritten letter, you sign it, or you can type it up and then sign it. But you don't really want to dispute online. Again, I've heard I've heard times where people have disputed and they got a few items removed, but overall, it isn't that effective.
Wow. And when I learned that, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
What? So it's important to have some letters and writing it out and things of that nature. And I know that your phenomenal program definitely helps with that. I know it was a time I was doing some things with credit, and I used the system for about a year, and it
Absolutely.
was very beneficial. I highly recommend everybody to contact you. It is definitely worth the investment. We invest in gym shoes, Gucci purses, cars. We invest in a lot of things, but we need to definitely invest in our credit because I always say credit puts you on the table to be able to play ball.
Come on.
And if you like me, you like to be able to play ball at some level and be able to be okay with the credit. So that's good. Like I say, I always mention it because it's too much. So listen, when people think of credit repair and credit restoration, why do we think it is a scheme? People always, it's a scheme. They just trying to get some money. The people doing too much. Why why
Absolutely.
do you why do you think people think this?
So I will say this. So and because depending on who you're dealing with, some people are scamming. So
True.
let's keep it real. So I understand people being, somewhat a little cloudy about that, a little hesitant in regards to that. So there are some schemes out here. For example, if you're going on someone's website and you don't see that secure box where it's like a little lock. Those are, that's one sign to look out for. Like, okay, this site isn't secure. I have to put my social and my personal information on there. That may be an issue. And then it's just knowing the credit laws, right? So someone is just they charging this ridiculous upfront amount, and you haven't seen no testimonials. You haven't seen them fit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't heard. You
Right.
ain't even like. Hold on. You do credit restoration, but I ain't seen no testimonials. I don't. Like I'm being charged $1,000, and how long that's gonna take. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like
Right.
charging that large upfront fee. And it's not, like I said, some people do it, and then it's like, I don't know for sure. You can't guarantee me results. Like, that's the issue.
Mm-mm.
Or even if that is, I can't, you don't have no money back guarantee and nothing like that. Like, so that's why a lot of people feel like, okay, you know, I went to this person, they charged me $1,000 and I didn't get no results. And so when you
Right.
have encounters like that, then of course people's mind is conditioned. Everyone that I go to is like that. It's a scheme, but it really is effective. Here's another thing though. So it's still important to pay your bills. Credit restoration doesn't necessarily just solve the magic puzzle. Like, it just, you still want to pay your bills on time, because the thing is, when we can fix your credit, and although it's illegal for the creditors to put it back on the credit, for them to put it back on your reports, they do it anyway. They'll sell it to another creditor sometimes. And because we have credit attorneys, we can fight it, but it's just a long process. But they absolutely cannot do that once we get it removed and the bill is paid. You follow what I'm saying? And at that case, if they put it back on there, it's a lawsuit. Like, it's a real lawsuit. And so it's important to know, because it's a statutory period. Like, even if you pay the bill, but it went into collection, the statutory right is typically for whatever it is. It can stay on your report for 7 years. So when we get it removed, it'll be removed totally again if the bill is paid. But if the bill not paid, you know, the credit industry is a $1 billion industry. So
Right.
they'll wait some time and they'll put it back on your report sometimes and just send it to another creditor. So technically, it's not, now the credit isn't with them, but it's with another creditor. And so again, it's, once we get it off, it's illegal for them to do that, but they do it. So I would just say that's the biggest thing, is still making sure you pay your bills off, because credit restoration doesn't solve that. It helps, but it doesn't solve it. So those are two of the biggest things. I think that a lot of people think it's a scam because they feel like, oh man, I didn't get results, and you didn't mess your credit
Right.
up overnight. So when people don't get results in 30 days, they be mad, they be pissed off. But it's like, it's a process. The credit bureaus, it used to be 30, but they have 45 days to respond to disputes. 45 days. So once we do our part, it's kind of out of our hands until they respond. And a lot of people, when I'm gonna get results, like, we have to wait till the credit bureaus respond. And so a lot of
It's a
people,
process.
they want instant, results. And so what some people are doing is, and which is kind of frowned upon, they throwing in CPN numbers. That's another thing. Come on, it's all type of things in here. So
Come
it's
on.
like, even if they don't get everything removed, they may throw on a trade line, and your score may go from a 650 to a 750, but that trade line is only on there temporary, and they didn't tell you that. People that's doing it illegally, they'll put a trade line on there, and you don't know what it is, and they'll tell you, yeah, you got 60, you got 90 days to get whatever it is that you need, but then your score gonna go back down. So it's a lot of different things that can be frowned upon because people are not walking in integrity with doing this, or not upfront with their clients. So hopefully that
Exactly.
answers your question.
It did. And I hope it answered for the people who have had those actual questions, because right now, people want their credit together. I would hope
Absolutely.
that they're working on their credit. And I tell people all the time, it's a decision.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make that decision that credit is important for you. It's important for your family. It's important for your kids, because your credit can affect your kids. So that's very, very important. Listen, if you guys are just joining us, we have definitely been tackling the importance of credit and with credit restoration. We're so glad that you all have come on to join us. Hey, listen, if you do not have my new book, The Global Plug, make sure you get it. Mr. Akers is in there. He's in the book. He's in the guide to be able to help every business owner, entrepreneur, nonprofit leader with your credit, because that affects you in business also. So definitely grab the book. And if you are a nonprofit, newly established, aspiring, I am doing a grants 101 basics. Listen, you're starting these nonprofits and you're like, I'm going to apply for a grant. But the question is, are you ready for the grant? Are you prepared for the grant? Do you have a strategic plan? What you have in place to prepare? Listen, join me May 22nd. Find me on Facebook at Crumb Enterprises. Sign up, get registered. It is in person, it is not virtual. People need tangible things now in this season of COVID. And listen, it's some people giving out some money, and you need to know how to position yourself for it. Listen. I am so glad you have joined me on tonight, Mr. Akers. I am just so honored because credit is a topic that is important to me because I've been there. I've been in a place where credit was not good, either from irresponsible decisions or decisions not knowing uneducated. That's why
Absolutely.
I started to show saying, listen, if you have a baby that is going to college this year, discuss credit. Let them know they're going to be on campus trying to get them those credit cards. Listen, when I went away to school, I think Discover was giving out like $1,500 credit cards. We down there living the life and graduated 4 years later and credit jacked up. My daddy was ready to wring my neck, right? So, and then what was I to do? Because I didn't know. I had good parents. They were responsible. They took care of business, but there wasn't much talk about your finances and the importance of that. So we encourage you tonight to talk to your children. You know, Mr. Akers say start in high school with your kid. I say, listen, start at 7. When they in that store talking about, can you buy me this candy?
Come on.
Right? Show them the budget of what mommy and daddy have to pay. You know, your shoes, your clothes, that do not make you a bad parent. They make you a wise parent. And those seeds of financial education will carry a very long time, a very long time. As we wrap up, Mr. Akers, is there anything you want to say to the people about credit?
Absolutely. So it's like I said, it's so much, but I'm gonna keep this real short. So the one biggest thing, and I'm just thinking of things that my clients come to me in this common conversation. So credit karma. Credit karma is good. It reports every 7 days, but it is not accurate. So don't let that be the be end all. I checked credit karma and my score said this. Credit karma is typically 20 to 30 points off, whether it be, it's typically 20 to 30 points higher or lower, but it's off. Now, you can go to get your accurate report. You want to pull your FICO score. You can go to myfico.com, or you can get your report. You can even do annualcreditreport.com, and you can get your free report per year. You get one free report per year. You can even go to Experian.com, and it's a way for you to purchase all 3 credit bureaus. Again, Credit Karma is good. I'm not knocking Credit Karma. It gives you an idea. So if you have just no inkling of credit, you can start with Credit Karma, but that is not the end all. So those is one of the most important things. You want to check your credit, right? Society teaches us to check our health. You go to the doctor, right? You want to check your credit. I checked my credit yesterday. You know what I'm saying? You want to check your credit, and they can just, whether it's every month, once a month, or every 3 months, just check your credit so you have an idea. So when you're trying to purchase something, you're not lost in the sauce and hoping and wishing and praying like you'll know. Like, let's be an educated consumer on what's going on.
That's true. And checking credit is like your health. I love that. Check your credit, know your numbers, know what's on there, know what's being said. And if you do not know, definitely contact Mr. Akers. He is
Absolutely.
willing to assist you. He is willing to give you a free consult. His website is definitely on the screen for you. Check him out. Get educated. Get educated. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much, Mr. Akers, for joining us on
Come
Lolita's
on.
Corner tonight. We hope that it is something that was said that would ignite you to go forth in your credit journey, to build it, get the power that you need, position you for home ownership, get in position with your credit. Credit is power. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you on next Thursday. Take care. Good night. Mr. Akers, congratulations to you on your new baby.
Come
I
on.
know we heard
I
some baby
appreciate it.
noise there. I respect the kids. So listen, you hear a little crying. The baby like, look, daddy need to finish this here
Right.
podcast so we can spend some time. It
That's
was
it.
great seeing you as always. Thank you for joining. Have a good night.